I have another questions for Tracey. How do you see the future of aviation evolving, and what role do you believe adventurers and pioneers like yourself will play in shaping it?
How do you see future aviation industry and the role of adventurers like you playing in this aviation industry?
Look, I guess the sort of flying I do is so unusual. I mean, what we were doing here was unique in the world. It really was. So to that end, that was really for me the culmination of 30 years of flying vintage airplanes. So I don't think I'm going to encourage people to go and fly biplanes around the world. But as I said, what I was trying to do was spotlight what these women had taken on and the terrible prejudice that they were up against. And I still see some of that today. And I'm not talking about countries like Saudi Arabia or Pakistan, where just getting an education for women is difficult. Even in Britain, I see huge prejudice. I see male hierarchies, regardless of all the lip service that goes on. The good news is today that there is so much more in the way of support, scholarships. Women do have access that they never had then. So I think that's a big game changer, because one of the most difficult things about getting into aviation is paying for it. Now, I literally waitressed my way. When I emigrated to New Zealand in 1983, I followed my twin sister out there, and over 5 years, I waitressed. I worked on garage forecourts. I was stacking supermarket shelves. I had a series of manual jobs to pay for my flying. So I funded a private license, a commercial license, and an instructor rating. So I funded my own flying, but it was really the old airplanes that fired me up. So my own flying became very idiosyncratic in a way, and this adventure. So it was for me vocational, but I still had to do other work. I went into aerial photography and mapping. So I've had the most unconventional career in aviation. But to that extent, it's been this wonderful hobby. So I never consider myself, I'm not a professional pilot, really, although I instructed for a few years. I'm obviously not a commercial pilot in any real sense of the word, but I've had a lot of years around aviation and air shows, display flying, historic aviation. And what I think has brought another dimension to my life was just understanding the role that women played and the price they paid to be part of aviation. And funny enough, the pioneers, and this is also where I really identified with them, they did not have conventional lives. They were short and brilliant lives. These women died in their early 40s. All of them, most of the pioneers that I was following died in air crashes when they were in their late 30s. So this was the price they ultimately paid to fly. And to, so you do it in a way, you pay the price to live the kind of life that you choose. So I've never had a family. I was certainly married for a time, but the freedom, the independence, to be able to move in 3 dimensions, it became a very literal thing for me. So I think women do see this as a dichotomy, a very natural desire to have a family, raise children. They perhaps see that as being antipathetic, difficult to combine a career like flying with a conventional role as wife and mother. But I think we're moving beyond that. I think the support is there for women, and I think that's where we have to place resources, because not just women going into military or into civil aviation, it's how you keep them in it as well, and give them careers, and provide social systems that provide child support and support them through that process, because women need different support to men, and women learn differently. There's different thresholds. There's a different psychological approach to this as well. And I saw that when I was teaching people to fly. Women seem to learn different to men. But all of these training systems have been designed around men, inevitably. So I think we have to be very broad in our approach to this, and how we make it appealing and viable for women.